Alright everybody, what is up? It is your boy ChallengeSaga here, back at it with another Fortnite creator tutorial video. Today, as the title says, we're going to learn how to make a racetrack video, but it's going to be different from my usual videos. If you guys see my channel, last time I posted a video, on Christmas Day actually, a video titled How to Build Your Own Boss Battle Map. It's not titled like that, but it's basically a tutorial on how to build your own boss battle map, and it ran for a full hour. And that's a huge video, and I want to avoid that from now on, because that's ridiculous. So the style is going to be different from now on. Usually I show you guys how to make the full map, and I just walk you through it, every single aspect. But for the sake of time, I'm going to just be brief with it. So I'm just going to show you how to build a very basic racetrack. So you can still build a very working racetrack. It's just not going to have all the little features that I add in my map. So just extracurricular, I guess, to make your map a little more spicy. It's not going to have that. It's going to be the bare bones how to create a working racetrack map. And honestly, that's probably how my videos are going to be in the future. So I just wanted to put that out there so that we don't have an hour-long video anymore. But this intro is probably going to make the video much longer than it needs to be. But anyways, you're still going to know how to make your racetrack map after this. It's just going to be super simple, super quick, super easy to follow. So anyways, today, we're going to learn how to build a racetrack map. Let's get right into it. Okay, so in order to start your racetrack map, what I recommend doing is starting in the grid island map. So that's what I've opened up, and by the way, you may be seeing I'm using the clown skin again. Last video I used the carved skin, just for a festive feel, but we can't get rid of, wow, I can't talk today. We can't get rid of the OG clown, so he's back. Anyways, let's start off with what we're supposed to do here. By the way, I chose a grid island because it's super flat. It's got no features or stuff that's going to interfere with your map. I explained this in my past videos, but I just feel like I need to keep reiterating that because I know it's not the best looking map, but it's the best for building. Just a little word of advice. Anyways, the first thing we want to do obviously is put some spawn pads. But actually no, before we do that, obviously build your actual little racetrack. Like I said, I'm not gonna go and build this nice looking thing right now for the sake of time. But yeah, this is my little tiny race map track. As you can see, definitely what yours should not look like is this. It's super bare bones. But first thing you obviously want is gonna be your spawn pads. You want players to have somewhere to spawn. So open your devices, go to this one, player spawn pad, and equip it. And usually I have a garage that I place this in, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to place it right here. And literally all you got to do with this is enable during phase. I mean, you could set it to all. If you have pre-game lobbies, here's what you got to do. You set it to gameplay only, use island start no. And in your pre-game lobby, you would put in more spawn pads that say create only, and then use island start yes. So just a little difference between the two. But my map does not have a pregame lobby, so it's just going to be all. Double check everything and then hit OK. Then copy and paste the spawn pad for as many races as you're expecting. So if you're expecting 6 racers, you put 6. 3 racers, you put 3. My map currently is expecting 2 racers. As you can see, 2 spawn pads, so 2 racers. Alright, next what you want to do is obviously give your racers the ability to pick cars. To do that, open up your creative menu again, go to your devices, and you want to find these guys right here. You can see there's a ton of vehicles available to pick from. Just a little word of advice. I would recommend staying away from the air vehicles. That's obviously going to allow for people to take shortcuts and not follow your circuit. So I would recommend using these cars or a pickup truck or something like that. Or ATKs. You can even give them the option to pick from those kind of vehicles. But like I said, stay away from these guys. So once you equip one of these guys, all you gotta literally do is place it down. And whoa, I did not turn on. Yeah, a little also tip. If you want it to look nice, which I suggest you do, turn on drops so that it's actually gonna drop the pad. It's not gonna be a bum about it. But yeah, literally that's really all you gotta do for the vehicle spawner. Now, yeah, you can double check the settings, but there's really nothing else you really gotta do, and you hit OK. Alright, so now let's get into actually like the technology aspect. So we built a car, we built the spawners, but once that all happened, that's cool and all, but how do we actually get the race started? Well, the first device I want you to equip is go to your creative menu, and what you want to find is the race manager device. The race manager device is like a little box. It's going to control everything about your race. So scroll until you find this gear looking thing and go ahead and equip it. Now, place the race manager anywhere. It's really irrelevant where you put it down. This is one of the devices that doesn't matter. And when you open up the customization menu, here's what you're gonna do. The first setting you want to change is the race circuit name. Change it to something you want to name your racetrack after. So let's say you want to name your racetrack, I don't know, the cool track, right? There you go. You've just named your racetrack. Now all the racers are gonna see that your racetrack is named the cool track. I'll show you how that works when I'm showing you like when everything comes together. But for now, make sure you name your circuit something that you're okay with naming your circuit, because other racers are going to see it. As for number of laps, you can be flexible with it. I usually make a 3-lap race, but it's like a typical race. You just pick how many ever laps you want it to run for. Then the next setting you want to look for is start on game start. So let's scroll down, and let's keep scrolling down. I think we missed it. Yeah, right here. So start race on game start. What you want to do is set that to no, because you don't want them to right when they spawn the race starts. You obviously like want a starting line and stuff like that. So I set it to no, but I know a lot of people like just want to get the race started, so you can hit that to yes. But if you have a starting line or something and you have mechanisms in place where now you have an official countdown at the starting line or stuff like that, I'm not going to show you how to do that here. If you're curious to see how that works, leave a comment down below, and I can show you how to do that. I've done that in the past. It's literally a very, very simple thing. Literally, they'll wait at the starting line. Once all racers hit the starting line, then a countdown begins. Once the countdown runs out, a signal is sent on a channel to the race manager that says, okay, now you can start the race, and then the race manager will start the race. To get that all to work, that's when you hit this to no. But if you just want to start the race right when you enter a track, then you just set that to yes. There's really nothing else you got to do there. The next setting you want to look for, though, is on race completion transmit on channel. So if we scroll down, and just a little hack, if you want to go to any channel settings, you see up on that bar you have basic options, all options, and stuff like that. Find channels only. It's a super useful thing. It just accelerates the time. But you want to scroll down to on race completion. It's right here. And set that to channel 500. Huge channel number, I know, but trust me, there's a reason. Hit OK. Okay, so now that your race manager is complete, let's actually double check. So yeah, these are the 3 things we changed. Remember, if you have a starting line, there's a 4th thing you want to change. That's start race on game start, and you set it to no. And then obviously, actually no, that's all you gotta change. Alright, then you hit OK. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is add checkpoints. So checkpoints can be found on your created devices as well. It's this thing right here, the race checkpoint. Go ahead and equip it. And you're going to want 2 checkpoints. That's the bare minimum. So at the starting line, so let's say this is going to be our starting line. You put 1 checkpoint. And then at the finish line, you're going to want another checkpoint. We'll get to that after we finish up the starting line. But at the starting line, here's what you want to customize. Nothing. Literally nothing. You don't have to change anything. Just keep it at checkpoint number 1. Hit OK. Now for checkpoint number 2, you're actually going to, oh my goodness, you're actually going to have to do something. So let's go ahead and place down checkpoint 2 right here. Okay, right before, actually, don't do that. I'll show you why in a second, but don't do that. Just place it like maybe a block or 2 away, like right here's a good spot, I would say. And what you want to do here is, you can see it's at checkpoint number 2 already, so 1 step completed. The next thing you want to check for, though, is when checkpoint completed, transmit on. Once again, it's a channel thing, so you go here, and then once you find, it's really hard for me to find these things. There it is, I'm right on it. When checkpoint completed, transmit on channel 1, hit OK. Okay, cool. So what we've done right now if you've been following, is we've created a starting line. So when you cross here, the race should begin. When you cross here, your 1 lap will end. So I'm creating a lap circuit, obviously. If you just want a one and done deal, then you just set your laps to 1, and when you cross this, it just says, okay, you're done with the race. But I have 3 laps, so once you cross this once, it's lap 1. Once you cross it 3 times, the game ends. Okay, so we have race manager and checkpoints. Now, one thing I also like to do, go to your creative devices menu and find a speed trap. The speed trap, it looks like this. It's like this yellow booster thing. Equip it and set it down, but put it down so it's facing your starting line, like that. So, right after your finish line, place that down and make sure it's facing the opposite direction of the finish line. The reason we put this, it's an anti-cheat mechanism. That way people can't go the wrong way and complete the race that way. They have to go through the full circuit. And obviously in your circuit, you're going to have barriers, so they can't like just cross the map and go through, if you know what I mean. By barriers, I mean like walls and stuff, not an actual barrier. But this is just an anti-cheat thing. It can only be placed on like map builds though, so you have to actually build a floor. You can't use a gallery or anything, so just keep that in mind. But I always put that. Okay, so the next thing we gotta do is this is where things get a little like a lot. The next thing we want to do is score managers. And if you've messed around with score manager before, you know it's one of the more annoying devices in the game. But that's okay, we'll get through it. So open up your creative devices menu again and scroll to the score manager. Sorry by the way, I am a little sick. It's flu season, so that hit me. Luckily it's not COVID, but yeah. Anyways, we want to find the score manager device. So there it is. Go ahead and equip it. And then what you want to do is place 1 down for now. There's gonna be more we're gonna place down, but right now just 1. Open it up, go to all options, and scroll to the top. Here's what you're going to change. So score value, set it to 1. Keep this the same. The next thing we want to look for is increment score and awarding. You want to make sure that's off. So when we scroll down, there should be a setting that says increment. Oh, pass it again. Yeah, here it is. You want to make sure it's off. Okay? You also want to make sure your minimum and maximum score are set to 1. Now, you have already established a score value as 1, but this is just a safety precaution in case your score manager decides to go haywire. So you just put it down to 1. And you want your maximum score to also be set to 1. So basically, you're telling the score manager you're only going to give them 1 point. Okay? Nothing more, nothing less, just 1 point. Enable during phase, I said that's a gameplay only. Visible during game, no, that's cool. Now, transmit on score does not matter. It really does not matter. You can leave that one alone. And the last thing you want to change is activate when receiving from channel. And what you want to do is go up to it and set it to 1. If you remember, also once you do that, you can hit OK. Now, if you remember at the finish line, what do? We set it that when they pass through, it sends a signal on what channel? Channel 1. So what we've essentially done is every time they complete a lap, they get awarded a point. The reason I put that there is it's much easier to keep track of placement, right? Now, you can put multiple checkpoints throughout your race point to progress check and update these leaderboards. But if you're doing a bare minimum thing where you want to do as little work as possible, then this is the way to do it. Once one person passes through, they receive a point, the number 1 on the leaderboard. Then the next person passes through, now they're in the leaderboard as well, and you can see where I'm going with this. So basically, if someone's completed 2 laps, they'd be first place. If someone's completed only 1 lap, they only have 1 point compared to the other person's 2 points, and they'll be in second place. For now, that can change at the end of the race. But anyways, that's what this little guy here is for. Next, copy this device and paste it right next to it. This is where things are going to get a little interesting. So open up this device, and here's what you want to change here. So, before we get into this, you need to make sure you understand how many racers you're expecting in your racetrack. That's going to determine what your score value is going to be. My racetrack is going to accept 3 racers. If your racetrack accepts 6 racers, for score value here, you're going to put 6. If you're expecting 5 racers, it's going to be 5. If you're expecting 10 racers, it's going to be 10. But I'm expecting 3, so I'm going to set it to 3. Hopefully you follow along with that. That's a super important step. You'll see why in a sec. Now, increment score on awarding, we've already set that to off, but minimum score, what we want to change, is now going to be what we establish a score value as. So mine is 3, but if yours is 6, 10, 20, you're going to change that appropriately. So your minimum score is going to be 6, 10, or 20, depending on what you put in the score value. Maximum score is same exact concept. It's going to be the same as your minimum score. Enable during phase, we can keep it the gameplay only. Transmit on score doesn't matter, but activate when receiving from is going to change. Set that to 499. Okay? Now, we're not quite done yet. Go to all options, scroll to times can trigger, and set that to 1. Once you do that, you can go ahead and hit OK. Okay, so now what you want to do is copy this, and I'll explain what this does in a sec. I know I keep saying that, but I just want to get through this. Copy and paste it. For this one, subtract 1 from score value, minimum, and maximum score. So you're just going to subtract 1. Mine says 3, so I'm going to subtract it down to 2. And my minimum score, I'm going to subtract that down to 2 as well. Okay? Other than that, though, all of these stay the same except for one more thing. And that's going to be your... Whoa. Let's go to the customized options. It's going to be your activate when receiving from. You're going to actually subtract 1 from here as well. So basically, we create a new score manager. We just copied and pasted the other one. But all we did is subtracted 1 from the score value, the minimum score, the maximum score, and the activate when receiving from. Hit OK. Now, you're going to keep doing this until you hit 1, right? So mine is expecting 3 racers. So at 3, 2, I just need 1 more of these for mine to be completed. So as you can see, I'm just going to subtract 1 from score value, 1 from min score, 1 from max score, and then 1 from activate when receiving from. Hit OK. Like I said, keep doing the process until yours hits score value 1, min, max 1. You want this all to be 1 when you're done, right? So if you started from 6, you're going to see 6, 5, this would be 4, you'd have 3, 2, 1. You would have more score managers. Hopefully you're following along. But here's what we've basically done. You might be wondering, why do we have these score managers out here? What is this going to be doing? Well, what we've essentially done for now is, remember how on the race manager thing, it's, oh, I already came across. You can see that's worked just fine. But you see that we said on race completion, transmit on channel 500, correct? Well, what these score managers are essentially going to be doing is they are going to be picking up on that channel. We obviously haven't established that yet, but there's a reason for that. But we're going to have a different device that's going to send a signal to these guys, and that's actually coming up next. But what these are going to do basically is assign points to first place, second place, third place. And if you have more score managers, it's going to be fourth place, fifth place, sixth place, and so forth. So if you've been following along, you might notice that, okay, so then the winner is determined based on score. Exactly. First place, as you can see, is going to be getting the most amount of points. Second place gets the second most amount of points, and so forth. That's why we have these score managers out here. So, you might have noticed, okay, that's cool and all, but you just found out that the finish line sends a signal on 500, but none of these are accepting signals for 500. Did you make a mistake? Actually, no, I did not. Which is kind of weird to say, because I make a lot of mistakes when I'm in creative. But there's a reason for this. What we now want to do is add another device. So open up your creative menu and find the trigger device. Just a plain old trigger, and then go ahead and equip that. Place the trigger down anywhere. It doesn't have to be on the map, it can be anywhere, really. Go ahead and place it down, and open up the customization menu. Here's what we're going to change in this first trigger. So triggered by player, we want it off. Triggered by vehicles, we want it off. Times can trigger, we want that set to 1. We want to scroll down to, like I said, this is a channel thing actually, so we can scroll the channels, but we want trigger when receiving from, set that to 500. And then, when triggered, transmit on, go ahead and set that to 499. Go ahead and hit OK. So, let me walk you through what we've just done. So here's what we've done. They go through the circuit, okay? When they finally finish the race, it sends a signal to 500. The score manager is not going to pick up that signal. No, the trigger is going to pick up that signal. It's going to say, okay, we just received a signal from 500. Send a signal on 499. It's going to send a signal down to 499. Your first place score manager is going to pick up that signal from 499 and assign 3 points to first place. Now you might be wondering, that seems excessive. We could just set the score manager to 500. That's easy, right? But think about this. If you do that, then when second place finishes, they're also sending a signal to 500. They're not sending a signal on a different channel. So when they finish, now what you've just done is they're also going to get first place points, because if you set this to accept the signal from 500, whenever even 9th place finishes the race, they're going to send a signal on 500 and they're going to get 3 points. So everybody's going to win first place. And that's obviously not what you want. So the solution to that is to go back to your trigger device, copy it, and paste it. Open up the customization menu. Now, for this trigger, go to all options. Make sure that triggered by player is off. Triggered by vehicles is still off. Times can trigger though. We need to change that. So on the first trigger, we set times to trigger to 1. Now we want to set it to 2. And we want to transmit every X triggers to set to 2 as well. Then, go to your modified options. Trigger when receiving from should still be 500. That's good. But when triggered, we wanted to transmit on 498. Hit OK. If you're following along, now what we've just done is we fixed that issue. So when first place crosses, yes, it's going to send a signal down to this trigger. This trigger is then going to send a signal down 499. The score manager is going to accept the signal from 499, and it's going to assign 3 points to first place. Then, this trigger actually deactivates because it can only be used how many times? Once. So once a signal is sent through that trigger, it deactivates. It's useless. So then when second place crosses through, they're also going to send a signal through channel 500, but we've made it so that this trigger is no longer accepting that signal. It's shut down. So this trigger is going to accept that signal. Now this trigger, unbeknownst to everybody, had already accepted a signal when first place crossed, but it didn't send any signal because it set to transmit every 2 times. So once it received the first signal, it just didn't do anything with it. It left it on red. Then when the second signal came in, that's when it decided to do something about it. So when the second signal comes in, which is from second place, then this trigger says, okay, now we're going to send a signal on channel 498. Score Manager 1 is not receiving a signal from 498. It's set to 499. So this is not going to do anything. The Score Manager set to receive a signal from 499, though, is going to be the Score Manager number 2, which is set to assign 2 points to second place. So now, as you can see, second place is going to receive 1 less amount of points than first place. So then when the game ends on the scoreboard, they'll have 1 less point, they'll have less points, and thus they'll get second place. You see where I'm going with this? Okay, in case you don't, let's keep going to third place. So for third place, you copy and paste, same thing as usual, but this time go to your modified options, and this time set times can trigger to 3, transmit every X triggers to 3, and then when triggered, transmit on channel 497. Hit OK. Now, just like second place, when third place crosses, this trigger has been accepting signals every single time. So when first place came in, it got the signal but didn't do anything with it. When second place came in, it still got the signal but did nothing with it. Then when third place comes in, because that's the third time it's receiving a signal, now it sends out a signal on 497. The score manager that accepts the signal from 497 is this guy right here. And what it's going to do is it's going to give 1 point to third place. So to continue the process, if you have 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, if you do that, then literally all you're going to keep doing is you're going to copy, paste, and all you're going to keep doing is adding 1 to this, so adding 1 to times can trigger and transmit every X triggers, and then subtracting 1 when trigger transmit on. And you got to keep repeating that pattern until you get to your last place, which is, if you have 6 racers, 6, 10, 10, 12, 12, and so forth. So let's go ahead and get rid of this device for me because I don't need it. Okay, So now everything is going really cool and all, but we still don't have anything set to end the game, right? The scores and everything are going through, but when third place finishes, at the moment, nothing will happen. They'll just finish the race and that'll be it. The game itself won't register that the game is over. We can fix that issue though. To do that, open up your creative devices menu and go to devices and find the end game device. Go ahead and equip it. Place it down anywhere on your map, and here's what you're gonna do with it. Open it up, and the only thing you have to change is activate when receiving from, and that's a channel thing. So activate when receiving from. Set that to whatever your last trigger is sending a signal on. For us, it's 497. To double check that, go to your last trigger you put down. It should be 497. If you have a 6th place winner, you're going to see it would be 499, 498, 497, 496, 495, 494, I believe, would be your 6th place winner, right? So whatever your last place trigger is set to, that's what you want to change this to. Activate and receiving from that. Because what's essentially going to happen is whenever last place finishes the race, that's when this device is going to accept that signal and say, okay, now we can end the game. Right? And hit OK. And there you have it. That's all the technology you need. Now the final thing we have to do is mess around with our My Island settings. So open up your menu, go to My Island, and here's what you're going to fix around. So voice chat, set it to all. Max player, set it to how many erasers you're expecting. Mine's only expecting 3, but if yours expecting 6, 10, or 12, change it appropriately. Teams free for all, team size dynamic, doesn't matter. Now what you want to do is go scroll down to time limit. Time limit, you set it to whatever you want your race to run till. So basically, if someone is still in the race, you can set a time limit to when it forces them to finish, right? Then scroll down. The next thing you want to find is all teams must finish, set that to no. It should already be set to no, so you're good there. Win condition, you want that to most score wins. Vehicle impacts damage, obviously, the next thing we got to focus on. So if you scroll down, that's the second to last thing, set that to no. And set vehicle impacts damage vehicles, set that to no. This is preventing your vehicles from messing around with your environment. Next, go to settings. In settings, you want to turn off the following. So go to infinite ammo, set it to off. Maximum building resources, I keep mine at 0. I don't want people building during my race. Allowed to edit, that's set that to default. Allow building, set that to no. So none. The next one is building can destroy environment, set that to no. Environment damage, set that to off. Structure damage, set that to none. Pickaxe destruction, set that to none. Weapon destruction, I set that to none. PvP damage, set that to off. Scroll down. Start with pickaxe, set that to no. Allow item drop is the next thing, set that to no. Allow item pickup, set that to no. Now this could be different for you. If you have like items like Mario Kart does, then obviously don't turn these off. But for my racetrack, I keep them at no. Then the next thing you want to fix is, I believe it's player names and location, if we can find that. Yep, there it is. Set to always show. And then enable fire damage is the last thing we've got to fix, and that we're going to set that to no. Okay, the final thing we're going to mess around with is UI. So go to HUD info type, set it to score. Max trackers on HUD, set it to 1. Scoreboard win condition, we want that set to 1, or sorry, not 1, we want that set to score. Scoreboard tiebreaker 1, set it to lap time. Just in case, you know. And then map screen displays the final thing we gotta do here. You can either set it to overview map, that means when they press the map button on the racing, they can see the map, or scoreboard, they can see the leaderboard. And that's it. Go back. And ladies and gentlemen, you're done. This is your racetrack. This is your official completed racetrack. If you wanted to test it out, you'll see everything should work quite smoothly. Obviously, I have 3 laps, so I'm not going to run through it. But trust me when I say this, I've run through it multiple times in the past, and this map is a working map, right? You would actually, you know what, let's do it. Let's set this down to 1 lap. I feel bad just, So, 1 lap. Let's go ahead and start the game. everything should work smoothly. Right when we pass the finish line, it should register as the game is over. So let's go ahead and pick up a car. As you can see, the lap car there. Ooh, the one already starts. And then let's just drive through. So once we pass through this, it's the racetrack. There it is. And then, oh, right, because I'm done. So obviously I decided for that third place finish of the race. So that's an L. Let's retry that. Oh my goodness! What did I just run myself? Okay, so obviously what happened here is that endgame device is set to that. So instead of that, we're gonna set it to 499. Don't do what I just did. Do not do what I just did. That's just for testing purposes. But it's just to show you that our map is gonna work. Okay, so the car. Let's begin our drive. Okay, when we get through the lap, now it's gonna actually work. See, it was starting at 4 points, but there it is. It ends this for us. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That's how you build your very own racetrack map. As you can see, I'm racing in one I've already completed in the past. It's not an amazing looking map, but this is the one that has like all my settings in it. So it has like a full functioning garage. It's got like a starting line and stuff like that. If you're interested in building one like this, where there's just all sorts of devices and stuff, I can show you how to build a starting line, a finish line podium, so it's going to show you first place, second place, third place in the freeway, and just more features so that, you know, it's just a more walkthrough experience, I guess, how to create a racetrack. Please let me know in the comments down below and I can get to that. If that's not something you're interested in, that's okay. It will, just fair warning, be a longer video if I do that, so I'm just putting that out there. But that's it for this video. Hopefully you now know how to build a bare bones racetrack. Obviously don't copy like the aesthetic that I use. That's super ugly, like the wood and everything. Make yours look nice and pretty. Have like a starting line. Make sure you have walls like I do that prevent people from, you know, jumping the map and stuff like that. And honestly, that's literally all you need for a full functioning racetrack. But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, like usual, leave them in the comment section down below. If you notice, I do read those comments all the time. I'm always checking those out to see if I can help out anybody. I love doing that. Fortnite Creative is something I really love playing around in, so that's definitely something that I'm always checking to see if anybody else needs help or has any tips for me. But anyways guys, it's outro something. So thank you so much for watching. It's been your boy ChallengeSaga, and this is how to build your own racetrack in Fortnite Creative. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.